quite the big news scandal. And I'm just curious in terms of your approach. Like, when did you kind of hear of this story, and why did you want to evolve to make this into a documentary feature?
Sure. I work quite a lot with BBC Storyville. We work with Spanish and other European broadcasters, and I've made films for them about subjects, difficult, complex investigations with themes of truth and justice. And it was Nick Fraser, who's the commissioning editor of BBC Storyville, who saw this story published a few years after it had happened, and sent some material to me to see what I thought of it. And of course, my immediate impression was it was an extraordinary story. I wasn't sure if we could make a film about it, but that's how it started.
So we'll open it up to the floor. These are just right, and we'll go in the blue there, just near the middle back. There's, yeah, right there. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead.
Who were the international investigators? They said there were 20 international and 10 Guatemalans. And how was that funded?
It's an organization called CICIG, as you probably saw, which was set up by the under the patronage of the United Nations, but it's funded by various countries, including Canada. Actually, it's Canada, Switzerland, the EU, and the US are the main ones, I think. And about the investigators, that's the team. It's an international team. Actually, Castro-Sana had difficulty hiring people from a lot of first world countries, but a lot of Latin Americans formed up the rest of the team, and then they worked together with the Guatemalan investigators, prosecutors.
And it's in the front.
Are the CSIC conclusions now accepted in Guad City conservative circles, or is it just a Taylor of Panama that doesn't believe it, or?
I'd say about half and half, actually. When I first went to Guatemala to find out about the story, there are a lot of competing narratives, and given the history of Guatemala, it's not surprising that people don't believe official stories. So it's difficult for a lot of people to believe this story. When it was first made public, when Castro-Sana went public, people were so impressed by the style, which is pretty new to Guatemala, the investigation, they didn't believe it. But since then, I'd say it's almost like the vegetation growing back, the rumors, the accusations. I'd say probably only half the people in Guatemala believe it.
We'll jump right there.
I'm just curious, the men being held in the death of the father and the daughter, did the prosecutor talk to them about who was behind their death?
Repeat the question, please.
So the question was in terms of, I believe it was the people that committed the murders for...
The father and the daughter.
Yeah, the father, yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Did they find that? Yeah, right. Yeah. Because the thing that's not completely clear about the Musa killings, as you rightly notice or point out, is that the motive is not clear. The CICIG investigated, and they came up with a thesis that it was to do with dirty business. In other words, Khalil Musa had bought back some materials, some textiles that had been stolen. And so it was a business deal gone wrong, if you like. But the judges didn't accept that. And when it came down to the witnesses, to the material killers, I'm using Spanish again, it's the guys who actually did the hitman team, they came up with various different stories about who was behind it. In fact, they didn't really know. I don't think they were paid by somebody, but they weren't the best source.
Let's just jump to the front, sure. So do the children, well actually yeah, we'll open up in front. Yeah, what are the children's beliefs in terms of kind of the aftermath of everything that happened?
The children, they do believe it, but they have difficulty saying it very clearly because the rest of the family don't. The people closest to him, his children, I think they accept it. And they've, particularly Eduardo, he's been through our process, and in fact, he found the film helpful to come to terms with it, but I think there are still maybe a few steps left. He's come to terms with it emotionally. He knows that his father, like Daniela, his sister as well, he knows that his father was putting himself at risk by going out cycling on a Sunday morning like that. In other words, he was prepared to die. But it's not easy for him to say very clearly that his father orchestrated his own murder, because there are other members of the family who don't want that said.
And actually, to